Welcome to Wealth Coffee Chats, folks, for your daily live updates. Get the most out of today's episode by participating in the chat. Make sure you ask some questions, be part of the conversation, have a bit of fun, grab a coffee or a tea, take some notes, and get ready to start your day, folks. Quick few housekeeping rules, though. No spamming, no advertising or self-promotion in the chat. That's not on. Be kind and respectful to everyone when participating. And most of all, have a good time. Real estate investing can be your biggest asset. It also can be your most expensive asset when it comes to getting it right or getting it wrong, folks. It can be time-consuming, stressful, and that's why here at Positive, we have what's called a 6-star team, a full-service team that provides integrated wealth and property investing solutions and services simply designed to help you progress towards your goal of passive income through your property portfolio, folks. Make sure you check out our other podcasts on the Positive Mentor Network. Not only is there Wealth Coffee Chats, there's the Urban Property Investor. Drops every Wednesday with straight talking investing strategies and lessons with Sam Saggers. Property Investor Tales. This is where our clients, you guys, share real life stories from property investing, hosted by some of our advisors and strategists. And that's done every fortnight, dropping every Monday. Wealth, Wine and Wisdom, folks, that debriefs the week that was in the world of finance and property, hosted by yours truly, Jason Witten and Andy Fenton on Fridays. Hey, good morning, folks.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another Wealth Coffee Chat.
Hope you're well, folks, wherever you are.
There it is, team. Morning. Morning, wherever you're tuning in from today.
Early bird gets the worm, they say. Here at Positive, we offer a 6-star team. It's a team that help you at every stage of your wealth creation journey.
There it is. Morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, 6th of August, 10 past 8 local time. I'm actually in Melbourne today, and early bird does get the worm, as Jason just said. Been up and at it this morning already in the cold and the dark of Melbourne, and look what I've come across. This was from 2012, the one and only Sam Saggers and Tabitha Bright talking about all things property, building a 30 million plus portfolio, how to slash your tax bill by 30%. So I thought that was interesting. We'll put that back on the shelf and get into this morning. So hope you're well wherever you're tuning in from this morning. If you haven't met me before, my name is Cass Shosted. Here representing the property management group for your 6-star collective team, which is amazing. So like I said, down in Melbourne for the last couple of days, back on a plane this afternoon, back to sunny Brisbane. Well, hopefully it's been sunny out there, but hope you're warm and well wherever you guys are tuning in from today. So that's me running the property management crew with the team. Look to keep you guys safe and help you hold that real estate for a long period of time. That's what we keep doing, and why we come on a Wednesday through this consolidation period of your journey. So super important. Now today, I think last week we was on and I said it wouldn't take long to find another cracking story. And I'll tell you what, it took me 24 hours last week and I did find another cracking story, but I'm going to save it for next week for the do's and don'ts of property management out there for real estate agents. I wanted to bring a topic up today, which is a crucial mistake that I think landlords make when trying to navigate the lease expiry. There's a lot of different reforms and legislation and ideas and processes and information out there from various property managers, industry bodies, and landlords for that matter. And so I thought after a phone call I got a few days ago, we were talking about this situation on, hey, I had a fixed term lease agreement. Is it going to roll over into periodic? And if it rolls over into a periodic month-to-month lease, what happens? What are my responsibilities? So I thought we'd just kind of bust a few myths today because there is one crucial thing I think a lot of landlords miss, and I think property managers as well in that space. So I've got a bunch of notes I wrote this morning, team. So the mistake I think that gets made a lot of the time, team, is that there is very little grasp on the actual legal framework and legislation that's actually in play. Now, of course, depending on where your property is located, state by state and territories may have slightly alterations with their ways in which you can end a lease, from fixed to periodic, and how that notice to leave and all those terms around that scenario may play out. So because there is little grasp on the legal framework, it often creates a lot of confusion. It often creates unnecessary disputes, unnecessary vacancies. Ultimately, I think where our ears start to prick up is when we actually start to lose rent, when we start to find a financial impact on the situation. It's when things start to get a bit wayward and we find ourselves in these different scenarios. And sometimes we've actually been the cause of the vacant property in the first place, except at that time you're just scrambling to try and get either new lease signed or you're trying to find a new tenant, which obviously has costs involved in that. So the crucial mistake is, like I say, a lack of or a little bit of unnecessary, I guess, actions because we don't have the understanding. And so what I want to do today is kind of just give you guys some bullet points. Depending on where your property is located, you obviously check the information in your state or territory. But I thought I'd just focus on the East Coast. That's kind of where I work and play in Queensland, Victoria. And I thought I'd just sort of touch on New South Wales as well, because very similar to what Victoria's got going on. So if you're keen for less confusion and less disputes, put a yes in the chat, because I am. And I tell you what, in Queensland, there was a pivotal reform when it came to the way you can and can't end your fixed term lease. So the pivotal reform in here basically meant that you as the landlord and the property manager needs to provide a valid reason to end a fixed term tenancy. Now, the major difference between Queensland and the southern states of New South Wales and Victoria is that a valid reason to just end the fixed term due to it being a fixed term agreement is considered valid. And this is why in Queensland now, you will find, I'd say 95 to 99% of leases, the smart investors anyway, will tend to move towards ensuring their investment property in Queensland is on a fixed term tenancy. Now, why is that important? Well, for you guys, I think you can plan better. I think it provides you a bit of security. I actually think it provides the tenant some security as well. But I think on a rolling 12-month basis, it aligns with your ability to review the rents and things like that. So that is in there. Now, if you're a landlord in Queensland and you want to give notice to the end of the fixed term, it's a minimum 2 months notice and can actually be issued up to 1 day before the end of the fixed term. So if I've got a lease expiring tomorrow, I can still serve my notice to leave of end of fixed term today. I just need to still provide the 2 months notice. So we will be going into October in that case. So other valid reasons, which is very similar across the board. You're going to sell the property, obviously, or you have sold the property and you're looking to gain vacant possession because the buyer wants to move in, which is what I've just gone through. So that's valid. You might be moving in, right? You might have bought your property in the future, might be your downsizer. That's valid. Significant repairs, renovations, change of use of properties, these sorts of things, they are valid reasons. Keep in mind, if the tenant wants to initiate a vacate at the end of the fixed term, they only need to provide you a 14-day notice period. Okay. Now, some would say that in this case, yes, the landlord having the ability to end a fixed term sort of encourages the tenant to renew on another fixed term on a 12-month rolling basis. And that might favour the landlord a little bit. Well, you've got to think there's been some new reforms as well in regards to ending the lease early from the tenant's perspective. And depending on when your lease was signed and started will depend on what break lease process and costs are involved for your tenants. So I think there's an argument for both sides there, but I think, look, at the end of the day, it allows you to control your property's future at predictable intervals, right? We can make decisions every 12 months. And I think the suggestion there that I wrote down is that, they said there's less security for tenants. I'm not sure I believe that because the break lease and lessened penalties that are involved now with new leases, I think tenants still have that flexibility in that space. So that's Queensland. So again, understand the framework so you can navigate what to do next is super, super important. Morning, Chris. Yes, got your coffee. So do I, mate. Great to have you here. New South Wales, a little bit different team, a little bit different. This is the question I have. It's really important to know in May, I think it was May 19th this year, 2025, the government abolished the no grounds evictions notice, right? You can no longer just terminate a lease agreement based on no grounds. There's not a thing post May I believe it's the 19th, double check. It was definitely May 2025. So what that means is if you've got a lease agreement from 2024, 2023 prior to that, then you would still be able to supply that 30 or 90-day notice depending on fixed term or periodic lease. But today, any leases post May 2025, it's irrespective now that you are no longer able. The no grounds eviction notice has been abolished. It's not a thing. What is the key difference between that and Queensland? In New South Wales, the increased amount of stability for tenants has increased. That's all it means, right? As a landlord, if you not necessarily losing control, so to speak, but obviously allowing the tenant the right to occupy the premises. So from a fixed lease, if we have made the mistake and we haven't planned 60, 90 days out, as a landlord, you haven't planned your next, 1 to 2 years, you're not sure whether you're going to hold it, sell it, move in, you're not sure what's going on. When that fixed lease rolls into a periodic, please note you cannot deliver a no grounds eviction notice. It is abolished now for any tenancy starting after May. So in the future, now for New South Wales, if you're on a periodic lease and you as the owner would like to sell, or you do need to move in, or family member needs to move in as an example, or for that matter, you're looking to do renovations, maybe you're demolishing the property, you're rebuilding, whatever it might be, that is a prescribed valid reason to terminate the lease, then that will be okay. What it does ask you to do now is to provide support in evidence to what you're delivering to the tenancy there. So just important to note, there's no loopholes, team. There's no loopholes. You've got to be on it, and you got to know what your 12 to 24 months might look like. Now, same reasons as I say: sale, you're moving in, renovations, etc. I think as here, the main difference, as I wrote down here, was that from New South Wales to Queensland, in Queensland, ending the fixed term is a standalone reason. In New South Wales, it is not. It is now abolished. So like I say, there's zero negotiation, zero planning, zero communication with your tenant moving forward. You might find it's just going to roll over to a periodic lease, and you will no longer have that ability to just end the lease for no grounds or no reasons, right? So it is designed for more tenant stability. It is designed for less disruption for tenants to move every 6 to 12 months. And I guess, as I said before, a continuous right to occupy the premises. Now, Victoria, in 2018, if anyone remembers, the government came out and introduced over 130 new reforms, and in 2021, they were executed and they became a thing. Now, very similar to New South Wales, it's called a no-fault eviction. Again, basically no grounds. You can't just serve a notice to leave for no reason. The prescribed valid reasons are basically the same as New South Wales and Queensland. If you're selling, you're moving in, change of use, etc. Guys can look it up on the Consumer Affairs website. But there's no loopholes, team. There's no loopholes. We can't serve a notice to a tenant, or to a renter, I should say, now in Victoria, to say we're going to undergo significant repairs. The tenant then moves out, and then we change our mind and we put the property back on the market. That's not a loophole that is legally allowed, and there can be significant fines in that place. So if there's a lack of understanding, a little grasp in that legal framework, like I say, some owners and landlords and property managers will get themselves in some strife. And if you saw the story on Wealth Coffee Chats last week, there's some agents out there getting themselves in trouble. So if you do decide to do that, and you do decide to renovate the property, and then you decide to change your mind, it says there, team, you can't put the property back on the market for a minimum of 6 months. Now, that's not a great strategy, in my opinion. If you've got a vacant property for 6 months, I'm sure no one wants to give away 6 months worth of cash flow. So work with your team, work with your tenant, have a plan around what that next 12, 18, 24 months might look like, because like I say, like New South Wales, it's going to roll over from a fixed to periodic. There's no real incentive, I suppose, for the renter to renew. And you'll find in New South Wales and Victoria, it's probably a 50-50 ratio of who's on a fixed lease and who's on a periodic lease, as opposed to if you went and reviewed Queensland, you will find 95, almost 99%, I would say, of tenancies on fixed term leases. So the tip of the day is understand the renewal process, communicate with your property management team. We should be looking at what our plan might be at least sort of 90 days out from the end of the fixed term now. Don't leave it to the last month. Don't leave it to the last day, because legislation isn't going to bend the rules for you. You've got to make sure you plan in advance. So communication is strong. Understand your strategy. It's your journey as well, team. Yes, we have diligent property management teams and some other groups around us, but it's your journey. Take the ownership of that journey, and of course, I'm always here to help. The one myth I just want to bust before we end Wealth Coffee Chats on a Wednesday is, hey Cass, my landlord's insurance doesn't cover my property because it's in a periodic lease. It is not true, team. It is not true. If your landlord insurance, not building insurance, if your landlord insurer is telling you that, team, I'm telling you, you've got the wrong policy. You've got the wrong policy. There are really good landlord's insurance policies out there that do cover you for rental arrears and damages as a very basic cover. That includes periodic leases. So please, if you're concerned, if you're worried, it's a mistake everyone makes that they think they're only covered if they've got a fixed lease, and so they stress about that. It's not. It doesn't have to be that way, team. There's certainly policies out there that will cover you exactly the same as you are covered in a fixed term tenancy, right? So please check that. It's super critical. I've seen owners get burned over my 14 years doing this, and it's not because it's only because they're with the wrong policy. That's it, full stop. So team, I hope that's not you guys, but do check that in the fine print. If you're not sure, give them a call, find out, but certainly there are policies out there that will cover you in a periodic lease. So again, it's about understanding the framework, understanding the rules, the game, playing by it, and I guess, getting a good sort of system around you in that space. So that is me and my little rant for Wednesday. Wealth Coffee Chats. Any questions, pop it in the chat. As always, love to thank you for one of the listeners giving us this topic today. I really appreciate it. If you guys got any more ideas you want to explore and chat about and solve together on Wealth Coffee Chats, down below here somewhere on the screen, there is my email address. Give me a one-two sentence line on what you're looking to solve, and we'll certainly do that together here on Wealth Coffee Chat. So that's it for Wednesday, team. Don't forget, 8:10 tomorrow, the financial planning team will be back on, and we'll do another episode of Wealth Coffee Chats. But until then, bye for now.
Thanks for watching another episode of Wealth Coffee Chat, folks. Make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss a thing when we go live. Portfolio and investing game, folks, with Wealth Coffee Chats live every morning at 8:10 each weekday. Make sure you join us. Previous episodes are also available wherever you get your podcasts, folks, as well as our other podcasts from the 6-Star team here at positivementor.com.au.